Get in, nerds! We are playing Victoria 3. So, eagle-eyed viewers have pointed out that one of the reasons which I have had what could be generously described as financial woes is that there was a period where I was making substantial revenue from tolls and did not notice, and reached several accommodations with countries in order for them to not pay tolls that were substantially benefiting me. So, we are going to take a quick look into those treaties. I've got a no-tolls treaty with France, a no-tolls treaty with Great Qing. I don't think I've got no-tolls treaties with anyone else. Nothing with the German Empire. Alright. This deal still makes me feel tickled. So, first, French Republic. Let's renegotiate this defensive pact. I will remove this, but I will give you substantial more money. Yeah, maybe not this much more. Now is when we... Oh, weird. That's not how that was supposed to go. Okay. 9k works. Well, I'm short of influence. Hold on. Hold on. Who can I safely rival? Who can I do a rivaling? Stake colonial claim. That's interesting. And I have potential targets. I don't know what that means. What does this mean? Stakes that doesn't help me. Rivalry. Okay. Well, I mean, Java I've been fighting with, so let's rival them. And do I rival Spain? I feel like Spain is a good rivalry target. Yeah. Yeah, they only have 5 ships. Spain? You're rivaled. Alright, now that I've got some influence, what was I doing? I was renegotiating the Convention of Valence. Let me see, I was at 8k? Okay, they would do it. 7k. They're still saying yes. 6k? Okay, 6k is probably as low as they're going to go. So, let's go ahead and send proposal. And then we'll do the same with China. And the strait we're talking about here is this one. Right here, the Sunda Strait, which has really a substantial trade volume flowing through it. So, you know, I'm going to see if I can get that money. So, China. The Takashima Declaration. Let's renegotiate. I won't give you no tolls, but I will give you $5,000. Alright. Let's give it a second. Now, if I recall correctly, I am transferring my Snulf to Indochina to deal with this situation. Alright, so that's... And then once that's sorted... what if I... Alright, so they said yes. They said yes. So now, we'll let a week go by, and we'll see how much money I'm making in tolls. Okay, so I control this now. Yeah, look at that. Alright, so... Now we're making tolls, and I don't control this strait, but we'll see how that changes things. Spain's rivaling me back. Yeah, okay, there we go. So that's substantial toll revenue. 255k a week. Not bad at all. Big thank you to the viewer who pointed that out. I appreciate it. That was extremely dumb of me, not realizing that I control half of this strait. Along with Java, my, I guess, nemesis? Where's my fleet? Oh, they're on their way back. It's interesting. So that is interesting. And that number is not really going down substantially. So that's pretty cool. So with that, I can continue to use that money to grow my economy. What else do I need for my market? Look at that. My GDP just soared. That's incredible. Or my prestige, at least. So now I'm above Russia. Very cool. Still not above Germany or Great Britain, nor am I close. But, you know, them's the breaks. Alright, so... I... wish I could have more coal. I need to produce more furniture as well. So let's get to producing more furniture. Let me see. Anywhere we've got significant unemployment can just get 10 levels of furniture manufactories, no problem. Now, let's see. Rubber, I'm okay on. I can definitely produce more ammunition, I think. Let's look at. Weird. Oh, those are the ones in East Java. Alright. So there's the Cambodian situation. Please, please, please. I wonder if I demobilize this army. Never mind. We'll continue to we'll fight this war and then we'll deal with the expeditionary force. Because I should now have a. Actually, wait, hold up. No, I do need to get them off of the island because I'm going to grant that territory to Bali, I think. So the population here is primarily Javan, Insular Indian, and Malay. And Bali is... I know I checked this before, but it's been a minute. Balinese, which is Insular Indian and Malay. Alright, so that'll be fine. Police attacked strikers. In a violent clash, police used their newly granted powers to fire upon striking workers in an attempt to disperse them. Many workers were killed and several officers were wounded, but the crowd was ultimately broken up. The firing was unjustified and cruel, to say it in plain language. It was cowardly, premeditated murder. Petit bourgeoisie happy, trade unions unhappy. 10% of laborers and machinist pops in Japanese Azochi become more loyalist. Cool. I'm not sure have had a substantial increase in radicalism, but mostly that's due to East Java, because people don't like being conquered, and frankly, I can see why. Alright. How is this front going? I just want to make sure that we're winning over here. I don't think it should be a problem, but it's important to find out. Okay, there we go. Yep. Looks like we're doing good. Wonderful. I'm checking... Okay, so that hasn't sent significantly more trade through the Straits of Malacca, which is interesting. No trade Wait. Oh, because Russia got Sinai and they didn't... Oh, interesting. Super Dreadnought! Oh, boy! This will safeguard the peace better than any regular battleship. Hearts of Iron 4 fans giggling right now. Javanese army, I'm going to leave them there. They're going to become disbanded pretty soon. So... I have some superb dreadnoughts. Let me see. We have regular dreadnoughts, pre-dreadnoughts, and modern ironclads. Let's see. Okay, so we got super dreadnoughts available. Let's create ourselves a template. You know I'm going to do more steel and more groceries. Ooh, modifications. I have 3 available. I could make these really tough. Like reduce torpedo nets for reduced critical chance, expanded sick bay for reduced suffered crew damage, and then yeah, and then fire suppression for reduced suffered hull damage. Yeah, let's create that template, and then wait. Select the correct one. And we'll add 5 to the queue. Unions demoralized by strike breaking. Our policy of promoting strike breaking is proving remarkably successful. Many striking workers are losing their fighting spirit and abandoning their cause. Our man will come to your factory and get acquainted, infiltrating the Union and rising within its ranks. He asks for unreasonable things and keeps the Union embroiled in trouble. If a strike comes, he will be the loudest man in the bunch and will counsel violence to get somebody in trouble. The result will be the Union will be broken up, just as planned. Weaker trade unions, Zaibatsu happy. Very good. Yes, haha, yes. Villainy intensifies. Alright, so we're almost done with these furniture manufactories. Oh, because they didn't normalize production methods in Java. Well, that's fine. We're going to give that territory away pretty soon. Still got quite a little chunk of infamy. How much of this am I holding? 50%. That's fine. I don't need to consider that too much. Where is... how much longer is this going to go on for? I know it was supposed to be 2 years. Let's check if I've still got... Yeah, okay. Remaining time 16 months. Alright, so that is what it is. It'll sort itself out in good time. Force comparison's gotten a lot better here, so we're Tuscany improving relations. Very nice. So we're doing just fine. Yes. Haha, yes. Okay, so tolls are going down a little bit, but only a little. Alright. That is the conclusion of construction. I still need more coal. Can I get coal? I know I keep checking this, but can I get coal anywhere? Oh, I can get coal. I can get a little... Oh my goodness. I need market access there and a lot of it. Let's build up Asha. But first, how much market access do we need in here? First, the railways. They are running. You're using the steam train production methods, 25 infrastructure a pop. How much is the shortage? Not that much. We'll build 3 levels just for... Okay, those are being built. And you know what? We'll build another because I am also going to build myself a delicious coal mine. And I'll probably be building myself some more rubber plantations later. What else is needed for our market? We're still exporting plenty of radios. Export subventions, payments are moderate. Mostly porcelain, that's fine. Artillery. What is the situation with artillery? Oh, planes. Ooh, glass. Hold on. Did I not start producing houseware plastics? I am producing houseware plastics. Golly, is my... Where's my porcelain? Where's porcelain? Show me the porce. Okay, we are still exporting substantial porcelain. Alright, so now let's go ahead and I do want to hand this to Bali, right? Same, well, Brunei is doing better. On the other hand, Bali could use more improvement. I'm going to hand it to Bali. East Java. Confirm. Alright, now I don't need a Javanese army. So that will go away. No substantial trade through here. So what else is needed in the market? We're still importing a lot of oil. Do I have any ability to increase oil output? I sure do. North Borneo and South Sumatra. Ooh, and I could promote significant supplies in China, which I could then purchase. Ooh. Is there any demand for oil in the Qing market? Let's find out together. There is quite a bit. Alright, so I can make money doing that. Lovely. Lovely, 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 lovely. The Snulf can get moved back to Japan, no problem. What else? I'm importing a lot of fabric, which is a bit of a surprise. Let's go ahead and import tariff that, because that's going to make our farms unproductive. I can go to mechanical slaughterhouses, let's do it. I can go to intensive wool gathering, let's definitely do it. Wheat farms can go to tractors. That's made them a little bit more productive, so that's neat. We'll set them to privatize. Now, rice farms I can't really do anything substantial for, which is fine. It is what it is. Vineyards, are you better with rail transport? You are, actually. Not that the Japanese market consumes a lot of wine. Yeah, I think mines do want to be on rail transport. Yeah, they definitely do. Not sulfur mines, interestingly. Some of them do and some of them don't. Where are we doing bad? Tohoku and Tokai. Let's... I'm willing to bet the reason is shortages of rail. Let's find out together, shall we? Not really. Interesting. What about Tokai? Not there either. Alright, well, I stand corrected. You really want to be on road carts, huh? Okay. Well, I got plenty of labor available. Lead mines, you also want to be on road carts? You're fibbing. You're Fibonacci sequencing me. No, you're good. Gold mines, rail transport, sure. Now these plants, what are these? Okay, those are better. Same here. Okay. Hold on. Now why are you going down now? Okay, opium plantations do not want to be. Tea plants kind of want to be. Let's see what it looks like. Yeah, it looks broadly better. Factory radios. Costs radios. I'm not going to add more radio costs to my factories. I need those. We sell those abroad. Alright, that's definitely better. Now, oh, here we go. The mechanization of farming. The grand project of mechanizing agriculture throughout the Empire of Japan is complete. Never before have such abundant yields been tallied. I got a brand new combine harvester. It's fantastic. Do you think I could borrow it once you've finished your harvest? Of course. I'll give you the key. I'm glad we can work together in such perfect harmony. Distribute surplus food to the poor, extra welfare payments. Don't think I can afford that. But could yields be even higher? Extra farms throughput. Let's go with the second one. Lung camps also want to be, yeah, you're doing better with these. But not steam donkey. Alright, that makes the fishing better. Oh, and I can also go to combustion engine derricks to produce more oil, which is substantially more profitable. And of course, it's more oil in the market, which is what I need. And I am going to max out rubber plantations here eventually. I think I'm doing okay for rubber at present, though. Am I not? Am I not? No, rubber's kind of expensive, although I am exporting a lot of it. Tell you what, let's build a little bit more infrastructure in East Borneo, and then we'll just rubber max. Stop disbanding rubber. I know you can afford it. Okay, please transport the Snulf back to Japan. Please, sir, could I have some transport for my fleet? Railroad boom. The growth... Oh my goodness, this event is supposed to be so much earlier in the game. The growth of branch lines among the main rail routes has become immensely valuable to the growth of our burgeoning rail industry. A child has been arrested for picking up coal alongside newly laid tracks. If the youth had been smart enough to steal the whole railroad, he would have been hailed as the Napoleon of industry. The railroads of Kyoto shall prosper, extra railway throughput, or the locomotive builders of Kyushu should benefit from this boom, extra motor industries throughput. I'm going to go with the second one. It seems like a no-brainer. Can I build trade centers in other countries? I can. Let's start doing that. I happen to think that... I have a sense that building up trade capacity is really critical. Okay, plenty in Yangxiu. What about Gwenbook? I apologize for my Korean. I don't speak Korean. Venezia Lombardy. Venezia Lombardy is trying to unify Italy against Austria and France. Good luck, Venezia Lombardy. If I get called in, you're toast. I'm not going to say you're not toast if I don't get called in, but if I get called in, you're definitely toast. Let's throw some trade centers in Borneo at the top of the queue. Just to make sure those can function. And let me also make sure that, okay, the railways are being built first. Let's throw these at the top to get them done as soon as possible. Alright. That should be enough construction for the moment. Now, what else? Actually, I could, with all that toll money, I could build up substantially more construction capacity, but it might be better to build up oil and Hokoshinitsu. It might be better actually to build up ship construction capacity. Alright, I do have the ability to produce my own airplanes, but I don't have methods that use them yet. I could have. Actually, let's do the truck inputs for the army. Okay, I think this is where we want to be. I think you can do both truck and air recon. I suppose I could create myself an automotive industry that produces airplanes. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. Let's build that in Hokoshinetsu. Hokoshinetsu, you're going to make airplanes. The Hokoshinetsu pipeline. Oil companies operating in Hokoshinetsu have requested government assistance in funding a pipeline, promising that its construction will be accompanied by other infrastructure improvements. Putting a liquid inside a solid, putting that solid inside another solid, and propelling the whole mess across a railway? Trust me, in the future they will laugh at how he once did this. Now, let me show you how simple it can be. It'll be just like turning a tap. Will contribute to the funding of this project. Happy Zaibatsu, extra infrastructure, extra oil extractors throughput, 3K in expenses for 2 years. Or, this is not in the budget, Zaibatsu unhappy. You know I'm going to say yes. I always say yes to a pipeline. And we are in an election cycle once again. A market liberal appears in the intelligentsia. Zaibatsu are no longer powerful. Intelligentsia are powerful. Well, looky that. Okay, so what happened here? Okay, Constitutional Government Association is holding strong. Petite bourgeoisie very powerful. Who wants this? The intelligentsia? What? The intelligentsia have got an ethno-nationalist. Interesting, but you'll only get me to ethno-state. You won't get me to single-party state. Yeah, no, that's unfortunate. Let me see. Our elder modernizer. He doesn't care. Distro power. Oh, you do like census suffrage. Okay, so for the petite bourgeoisie... Okay, so the moral of the story is, for the petite bourgeoisie, you need to not be on census suffrage, because they really, really like that. Interesting. We still don't have... I think historically this was around when Emperor Taisho passed away. So we'll see if that happens. I think we're going to try and keep the momentum behind the Constitutional Government Association. Although, if we throw some momentum by way of the Progressive Party, let's see how it looks right now with just they. And they're pretty weak. If we pull them in, bad. Constitutional Government Association, I think, took a lot of the vote last... Oh, only 60%. Okay, and we've got a lot of legitimacy this time through. So if we can manage more than... if we can manage a good, healthy election for our conservatives this time, we should be in a really good spot. Interesting. Interesting. My Jisha are extremely mad, and my Daimyo are extremely mad, and neither of them are marginalized. But my trade unions did finally become marginalized. What are they at? They're at pretty low at this point, right? 0.5%. Oh, Venezia Lombardy backs down. They tried to unify the country and failed. It is what it is. Whistle Stop Tour. Mori Kazushige intends to travel across Kyushu by train to campaign for the Constitutional Party. That's the Heimin and the Intelligentsia. All I intend to do is present myself to the people. I'm just a simple man, trying to get our party's message out by the best means available. Campaigning by rail is a smart move, extra momentum for them, Kyushu gets stressed railway network. Or, it sure would be a shame if that campaign train kept suffering delays. Minus 50% railway throughput, mysteriously mismanaged rail network, and reduced momentum by 10%. Interesting. It sure would be a shame if they couldn't get anywhere. Alright, let me just take a quick look at Kyushu. Once the week changes over, I'll take a quick look at Kyushu. Because I might need to, see to the country. Yeah, now they're having an infrastructure problem, which is fine. That's fine. They have a lot of railways, and they're going to need more. We're on electric rail, which produces... What's the per... Show per level values. Here we go. It's good. That's a good button. Okay, 30 infrastructure, which is really 15 infrastructure for our purposes. So, because they're at minus 50%. So, okay, so we need about 10 levels, which is fine. That's imminently feasible. There we go. So that'll be done in 20 weeks, and that'll be just fine. That'll be just fine. Hey, number 5. Number 5 in the GDP rankings. Wow, I got pretty high maximums for construction capacity. Why don't I go up to 180? That should do it. The levies. Terauchi Yoshinori has made overtures to the Heimin for electoral support to the Constitutional Government Association. Mori Kazushige has at least acknowledged the talks. Appeals for natural allies makes for a gamble on long odds. Receptive ears to natural allies are often already of like mind. Those who aren't of like mind would politely continue on their own way. Impolitely, they might scoff, laugh, or if they're truly devious, turn the gambler into their own useful idiot. Old minds think alike. Extra momentum for the Constitutional Government Association. I'm probably going to pick that. Or grass tends to grow as it pleases. 10% momentum, but stronger political strength of aristocrats and farmers. I'm just going to go with the first one to get that 20% instead. It's more momentum for the Constitutional Government Association, and that's my ruling party. Those are the guys who control the country. Now, how's our investment pool? This pool actually is continuing to go down, which is interesting. May have been a mistake to increase the size of my construction sector, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see if I can afford it. Money keeps going. Money keeps going. God, welfare payments are high. My population growth is through the roof. This is bananas. How do I do this? Bali, how are you doing? Are you a bigger country yet? They're a much bigger country now. Interesting. A Rajya. Ah, with the Raja. Well, that makes sense. Fruitful endorsements. In a gesture of solidarity with the Constitutional Party, Itagaki Oi has encouraged her supporters to vote for it in the ongoing elections. So those are the Heimin and the Intelligentsia. For the interest of all principled people, Constitutional Party has a consistent record of excellence. I cannot speak higher of those brave men and women moving the Empire of Japan forwards under their name. She has our thanks, certainly, extra momentum for them. Or this endorsement would better be more specific. Not as much momentum, but stronger intelligentsia. I'm going to go with the second one. I want to give them as little momentum as possible. How much longer for our general strike? How much longer before that goes away? 8 more months. Wait a minute. Okay, I was just making sure that our industrial strike and mysteriously mismanaged railways were not both completely stopping the rail from operating. Because if that were, that would be, while extremely funny, also deeply unfortunate. God's will. Yamamoto Kantaro of the Jisha has been seen preaching in favor of the Constitutional Government Association, convinced that their victory has been foreseen in God's plans. Do you think that God would not have a plan for our pious nation? Of course there's a plan. There must always be a plan. I've seen it myself, let me tell you, and I've seen it as clear as I see you all right now, just before my eyes. And who better to lead this adrift government than those who can clearly read that plan? Who are we to stand in the way of God's will? Stronger Jisha. Such a shame the country is not ruled by God then. He loses some popularity, but surely God wants the Progressive Party to win. Stronger Jisha does increase the Constitutional Government Party's power by a little bit, but those guys are also pretty angry. Let's give it to the Progressive Party. And let's see how that impacts things. It looks like it's hardly moved the needle at all. Yeah, I don't think the Progressive Party are going to wind up in power, but it is what it is. What are these guys doing? They're reducing education access. You jerks, stop that. Oh my goodness, am I... Oh, wait. Hold on. I can't actually be under my output, right? I am. I need to build more universities. Golly gee willikers, look at me. Alright, very nice. So... We'll just go up to level 10. We'll go up to level 4 in Nansei Shoto and Dozochi. Why not? Who says you can't? Alright, there we go. And that will produce some heckin' legislation imposed on Tidor refused. They refused to enact slavery ban. Tidor. Please fix your country. Now what about Bali? Bali's working on compulsory primary school. That's fine. Their reform movement is trying to revolt. Misplaced moderation. Takasugi Tsugumichi has criticized numerous decisions made by the leadership of his own constitutional party, calling Mori Kazushige excessively cautious and unwilling to address critical issues. I often wonder, looking at the activities that we carry out, specifically those which are most crucial to expanding our pool of supporters, whether Mori is authentically aware of or dedicated to their success. Our fundraising is generally acceptable. The coffers of the party are not without complaint, and neither are our accountants, but such resources have yet to be mobilized in a way that benefits the common good. And so my thesis is this. What does Mori intend, and how best to change his mind on the matter? It would be best to simply do as he wishes. Mori Kazushige loses some popularity, but the Constitutional Party gets 20% more momentum. Or make a point of improving the vigor we put forward half the effects. I'm going to pick the second one. I do not want the Constitutional Party to get more momentum. I want it to all be held by the Constitutional Government Association. Gosh darn it. Suffragist killed. An activist seeking to bring attention to the cause of women's suffrage has died in an accident at a derby, killed by a racehorse belonging to Emperor Taisho. Some are truer warriors than others, but the perfect Amazon is she who will sacrifice all even unto the last to win the pearl of freedom for her sex. No one would have to die for this cause if these basic rights had been granted. Angry Zaibatsu, Heimin's stronger. Or we won't extend political sympathy to such reckless behavior. Pissed off Heimin, happier Zaibatsu. I'm gonna pick the second one. Why are the Zaibatsu so frickin' mad? What do you dorks want? What are you so salty about? From arrested protesters and from jingoist rhetoric. Oh, because you're not in the government anymore. Well, we might see to that once the election passes over. We'll see what happens once the election is finished. Yep, got plenty of stuff being constructed. What needs to be constructed? So let's see. Oh, politician done with. All right, so 62% of the vote. We've got a free reform. If we bring them in, nah, we can't. I can't bring them in. That's too much. All right, so. Weird. Go to state religion. I don't love the Jisha, though. Could go back to legal guardianship. Could improve the poor laws, but I don't think I'm going to make that happen. Alright, everything else is looking good. And now we have a Buddhist party. Alright, so that's going to be joined by our Jisha as soon as... Okay, so the Zaibatsu are going to come back to the Constitutional Government Association, and then the Jisha are going to bail out to the Buddhist party during the next election, which will be our last in the campaign. Jingoist rhetoric is in place for another 9 months. How much longer on the general strike? 5 more months. Now, I built a bunch of railways here, did I not? Yes, and they are finishing hiring, so that should mean... Did I fail to do the math? The monster math? I think I goofed up the monster math. Maybe the per level values are the base value. Yeah, I think that's what happened. Alright, so let's build another... It's going to be a lot. It's going to need to be a lot. It's going to be like... I think 16 should be enough. I'm going to throw all those at the top of the queue. Just to get them done ASAP. And then that should sort the place. So, what else? Market access. Let's take a quick look. Everywhere else is looking good to go. Feeling pretty pleased about that. Really wish my my number of loyalists were better and my number of... Oh, we have a shortage of authority. Huh. Curious. Well, I suppose I could afford to cut a consumption tax, given that I've got just so much cash now from all these delicious, delicious tolls. Meanwhile, we still have Maeda health underflow error Nariyasu, who has who is just stubbornly kicking around. I'm pretty sure he was leading the Chonin at the beginning of the game, which is very funny to me. Funniness level extreme. Now, if I pull the intelligentsia in, Who's upset about this? It's just this guy. And why? Because they don't actually like ethno-state baseline. They only baseline like they like national supremacy better and ethno-state equally with racial segregation. So that's fine. My rank has fallen back. I think perhaps I actually am going to increase the size of my my shipyards. I've got quite a few shipyards. Let's go ahead and build 10 levels of shipyards in Kanto, 4 in Shikoku, and 6 in Okoshinetsu. That's going to be a really substantial increase in the size of the ship construction industry, but that will allow us to expand our fleet really significantly. And fleets produce really a ton of power projection, and that's really important. In fact, let's take a quick look at these. I think maybe we put our new super dreadnoughts closer to the top of the queue. What if 122 weeks. Okay, so these take a substantial quantity of time. I'm going to go back to 50% on ships, and 50% on supply ships. I think that's reasonable. I think after that, I'm going to queue in some power block statues, just to have power block statues. I like power block statues. I think power block statues are great. They're great. Nobody tell Kellogg's I said that, or whoever. Whoever it is. I hope I'm not slandering two different cereal companies at once. This subpoena can't stop me because I can't read. Anyway. It's looking good. So we'll get those built. Those take forever and cost a bunch, but it's fine. Interesting. Your prosperity is a little tight. You're not producing prestige goods right now. That's not good. I need to produce more stuff. More steel. Did I never start producing precision tools? I thought I did. Maybe I didn't. Tools are extremely affordable in our market right now. Maybe I hyper-subsidize porcelain and just build the absolute bejesus out of glassworks. I think that's the answer here. Wow, look at how much that changed the profitability of these buildings. That's bananas. And what does that do to glass prices? It makes them okay. How much am I increasing this by 50%? I think it's worth it. I think it's worth it. I think every other nation is going to be experiencing the same issues that we are with glass. So I think there's going to be a lot of glass available demand on the market. Now, geez, metalworks. Can I maybe put in an export subvention for steel? Let's try that. And there's something going on with artillery. Right, I was subvening the import of artillery. I'm going to stop doing that because I don't think that's useful. Wow, I'm exporting a lot of ammunition and a lot of airplanes. Okay, so now let me turn on air recon. Okay, so that does work for all types. And then do I have the aircraft carrier? Oh my goodness, I'm almost at mass propaganda. All right, well, we're going to see what happens. I don't have the aircraft carrier yet. I have the seaplane tender. but not the aircraft carrier. So let's go ahead and queue that in. Actually, let's queue in concrete fortifications, mobile armor, and then the aircraft carrier. Oh, I made a mistake. I increased text spread. I wasn't. It's fine. I thought I was at a different place than I was at with my, my research capacity. Alright, so... Currently building those I just finished building the universities. And now I'm building the power block statues and the glassworks. Lovely. Lovely, 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 lovely. Cash flow is doing really well. Okay, so now we're producing boats. Alright, so these should be done soon. So tell you what, let's throw all of these super dreadnoughts at the top of the queue. And there's mass propaganda. Okay, so now we're producing substantial destroyers as well. So now that we've got mass propaganda, we have the ability to have a fascist party. The National Citizens Alliance. Alright, so that's going to be just the petite bourgeoisie, which is really interesting. The Jisha are still going to join the Buddhist Party. The Zaibatsu are still going to join the Constitutional Government Association. Curious. Let's see what happens. Okay, here we go, here we go, here we go. Vigor and greatness. Whether it stems from foreign powers or from malcontents within our borders, the threat of socialism threatens to destroy the Japanese nation. We must all march under the same banner. We cannot forget who our leaders are, and how their strength represents our only defense against this threat. Whilst this journal entry is active, the rate at which fascist characters appear will be increased. We'll complete if the bars reach 100%, and the fascist movement has a character to rally behind, which is currently yes. Fascist movement. Here we go. Predicted to go to 26% activism. Predicted to go to 10% relevance. Alright. If completed, Inoue Tamemoto will seize control of the petite bourgeoisie. Okay, so that's what we want. Rate at which fascist characters appear will remain elevated. Triggers the event the March on Kyoto. Now, this is increasing by 42.7 average monthly progress from supportive fascist, reactionary, and corporatist movements. Okay, so this is going to sort itself out very, very soon. The Great Train Smash. An enterprising entertainer has arranged for two aging locomotives to run into each other at a local fair. The resulting collision may pose a danger to the crowd, although that hasn't stopped Hota Tsugumichi, leader of the armed forces, from declaring that he will have a front row seat at the event. For crying out loud, why? Why do you want to see a crash so badly? Honestly, I believe that somewhere in the makeup of every normal person, myself included, there lurks the suppressed desire to smash things up. Everyone enjoy the spectacle. He gets increased popularity, extra loyalists for political... Well, y'all have seen this a bunch. I'm going to let him go. We'll see if he explodes. He doesn't explode. Alright, so end of the year, 1930, will be fascism maxing. This bar is going to go up a bunch due to our completely uncontrolled corporatist, fascist, and reactionary movements. And there it goes. Did it finish? Okay, so we'll complete it. There we go. Vigor and greatness completed. The March on Tokyo. Inoue Tamemoto has declared its intention to march on Kyoto in the name of seizing the power over the Empire of Japan. His supporters are amassing at the outskirts of the city. We do not intend on coming to power through the back door. The back door. We do not intend to give up our formidable and ideal birthright for a miserable plate of ministerial lentils. Either they will give us the government or we will take it ourselves. Authorize them to form a government. Petite bourgeoisie gets fascist cabinet for 5 years. 75% increased interest group political strength. Plus 5 interest group approval. 5% of lower sternum pops in the empire become more radical. Adds nation above self and the modernization program to the Empire of Japan. We have every right to halt this coup if they become weaker and angrier by 10. 20% of the petite bourgeoisie member pops become more radical. Or enough order the man deported. Same as the second one, but he leaves the country and grows in popularity. I'm going to authorize him to form a government. That was the plan from the start. So, Now, okay, so the Constitutional Government Association are in power. Let's give it a week to see how that changes things. Oh, the modernization program completed. Cool. I wish I had read that event immediately. The 4-year plan. The expansion of our nation's infrastructure has led to a more efficient and productive industry. Let this technological advancement be the first of many to come. Those so-called great powers from outside our borders have tried to hinder us, to hurt our land and our reputation, to hurt our people. But from this day they shall hurt us no more. There's nothing stronger than the Japanese morale, not even the finest iron. The blades of antiquity or the steel from Damascus can compete. And today we firmly prove that. The Japanese nation cannot be economically sabotaged, for our infrastructure is now free of foreign predators. We should use this to increase our construction speed, extra construction centers throughput. Can't be unhappy about that. Or our shipyards will ensure us a place in the sun, extra port building throughput, but not shipyards. I'm going to do the first one. More construction is better. All right. Let's let the week turn over, and then we'll look at nation above self. And also, how much longer on our general strike? Okay, general strike is over. So now our GDP is back up. All right, beautiful. Nation above self. A safe country must be safe from within. Traitors and plotters can be everywhere, and we must be able to take care of them. We'll complete if at least one of these. Empire of Japan has dedicated a militarized police force, law enforcement level of 3 or greater, any variant of secret police, any variant of autocracy, oligarchy, or single-party state. Every interest group with a socialist or radical leader is marginalized. Every socialist or radicalist movement as other marginalized or being suppressed. Triggers the event the organized majority. Alright, so we need secret police, and we need single-party state to complete this event. So I'm going to hit this button. Most people don't care. The liberal movement's going to be angry, but I don't care about that. Let's start working on it. I can negotiate to get the support of the armed forces or the G-Sha. Maybe I'll... You know, I have been thinking about increasing the size of the army. I can afford it. Let's get the support of the armed forces, shall we? Prominent armed forces members met in Kyoto's finest cafe to discuss single-party state. With the right leverage, perhaps their opinions could be swayed. He serves his party best who serves the country best. Rutherford B. Hayes, 19th United States President. Quietly create a special subsidy for these good people. Decaying government expenses, that I could afford that. 10% chance of backroom dealings exposed. Commit to increasing the size of the army by about 50%. That's not that bad. Or political concessions. Those are still an authority penalty, which I don't like. I'm going to commit to increasing the size of the army. That's going to get the support of the armed forces. That'll put us at 45% success chance. I'm feeling very good. This is going to make our liberal movement big salty, but I don't care what they think. So, we should be rolling pretty well towards single-party state with 45% success chance, 47% advance chance, 7% stall chance, and no chance of debate, which is exactly what a fascist would want. I have committed to increasing the size of the army. This is not going to be complicated. Let's increase the size of the Imperial Guards. The Expeditionary Force is 55 infantry, 35 artillery, and 10 cavalry. We'll probably do the same with the Imperial Guard. So we'll increase cavalry by 5. We'll increase infantry by 20. And we'll increase artillery by 10. And that should be easy. So that'll bring that up to 100. The Snulf I could... Okay, so hold on. Before I do... we have an event. Oh! The Night of the Long Knives. I didn't expect that would happen so soon. Suspicious about an internal threat within our own generals and leaders. Suspicions about an internal threat within our own generals and leaders have been on the rise, reaching Inoue Tamamoto's ears, and the necessity of exterminating threats against the fascist regime is palpable. Hasty words, elusive looks. They are everywhere, everywhere. Knives fell in the night. They were sleeping when we arrived. Get up! The wooden floor was wet with their blood. You've been accused of crimes against Inoue and the Emperor. What do you have to say in your defense? And their voices were like horses snorting and thundering in the battlefield. Gunfire, cannons. This is nonsense. You have been charged with nonsense. This is all a mutiny. Hail Inoue! They're everywhere, everywhere. You must handle this with extreme caution. The petite bourgeoisie will only get fascist or integralist leaders. Katsu Sukenori, a Republican, Narimasu Keisuke, an ethno-nationalist, and Matsumai Yoshihiro, a moderate, will all die. Armed forces and petite bourgeoisie will be unhappy by a little. Execute them publicly. They will all die. Petite bourgeoisie gets increase and decrease of interest group approval, but the armed forces approval will go down. It's the same three guys that will die, right? But we'll get 20% extra authority. Or may they rot in jail. Traitors to the regime will be sent to jail. Same modifiers. Armed forces will be a little bit happier. But we're going to go with the most extreme version of this. Execute them publicly. Nice. So that gives us a pile of authority to play with. Let's use this authority to suppress our liberal movement. They're going to 82%, so they might become revolutionary. But if we suppress them, they'll be too weak to. So I lost some fellas. Let's take a look at our armies and make sure they're good. Okay, the Snolf needs a new leader. Let's go with a petite bourgeoisie guy. Saigo Jiro. He needs a little promotion. Oh, he can't have a promotion. Interesting. Curious. So, what if we... Well, I guess we'll need to increase the size of the Snolf then. The new Japanese fleet has 65 marine capacity and 130 capacity for other units. I could add some traditional infantry to the Snolf, and I think I will. Do 5, 10, 15, 20. And then we'll add some more artillery as well. 5, 10, 15, 20. That'll put the Snolf at 110, which will be just fine. I think we'll do a second Snolf as well. That's just a smaller force. We are still working on those glassworks, some of them. Let's actually put a pin in some of these glassworks to get the barracks rolling. Because that'll give me a better sense of where I need to go with my commitment to enlarging the army. Alright, so is that making my liberal movement weaker? It is. It's making it weaker by a pretty substantial amount. We have pretty good home affairs at this stage. Interesting. We'll see what comes of this. Standard of living is falling by a little bit. I don't love that. We're above our minimum expecteds, happily. So we're not at a point where they were causing mass radicalization. But we'll see. The Party of the Empire of Japan. As a show of support for the national unity, the Zaibatsu have come to endorse the Progressive Party's slate of candidates for all upcoming elections, rather than their own parties. Aren't you in the Progressive Party? In this time of ever-present crisis, they're sowing chaos! In this time of ever-present crisis, there is no one I would rather stand behind than the Emperor, and no party that I could support over the Progressive Party. So say we all. They will all come to stand behind us in time. The enactment of single-party state in Empire of Japan progresses by one phase. 2% of Zaibatsu pops in the Empire of Japan become more loyal. Or, uplift the Zaibatsu as an example to us all. Stronger Zaibatsu by 15%. Increased interest group approval. 15% enactment success chance. 5% of the group becomes more loyalist. I'm feeling pretty confident in my ability. And if I get them, then I can get I can get them to feel better. On the other hand, I could go pretty fast. Nah, I've got time. I'm gonna uplift them. So that makes this easier, but it also makes my Zaibatsu happier, which means I get extra manufacturing income, tax income, which is good. And then other stuff. Investment pool is very full, so I could halt building, but I don't need to. Legislation imposed on Cambodia refused. Ban slavery, you nerds. I can't immediately force them to do it again. Tell you what. Please have a real army. How are you doing, Philippines? You still chill? I hope so. Ooh! Well, look at this. We've reached position 3 in the power block rankings, which means we have another principal available. So what do I want? Let me see. I wasn't thinking about this. Maritime supremacy. Extra ship involvement generation, extra flagship involvement gain, max ship construction progress, and allow port access between power block members, and reduce Navy goods cost. Interesting. On the other hand, police coordination would be really nice. Vassalization gives me authority, which is also really nice because I do have a number of subjects. Aggressive coordination would allow us to... But that increases infamy generation, which I don't want. Militarized industry. Creative legislature companies. Free company charters would be nice. Maritime supremacy is a new one. But I think since we're going fascist, I think we can only pick police coordination. That just seems sensible. And I'll get another mandate next week, so that'll be nice. There we go. And we'll go to police coordination 2. Oh, I'm already at max police. Interesting. I didn't realize. UN National Awakening. Neat. This is interesting. This has been an interesting run because I've almost always had difficulty with keeping... I over-prioritized getting population growth rolling in a way that I don't think I needed to. Alright, so now that he needs more command limit, I can increase him, and that's fine. We are slowly increasing our power. Oh, okay. So that's all of the army power projection that we need. Interesting. An agitator appears. Kotaoko Chikako. He is an ethno-nationalist aligned with the Hay Min. Cool. Alright, neat. So, let's get ourselves... Okay, now the Imperial Guard need a leader. And that's fine. And then I think... So now we build a second Snulf. Do we? Yes, I think we do. Alright, Assault Marines. Let's go with... Let's just go with... 20 Assault Marines, 10 Artillery, 5 cavalry. Get a general. Let me see. Tamon Yoshimichi. That's fine. That should be fine. All right, 59% success chance, 35% advance chance. So that should be good. Again, technically I don't, because the game's going to end before this expires, technically I don't need to complete this, but I want to. I think it's reasonable from a role-playing perspective for my government to do that. This is a commitment to the armed forces. And, you know, under fascism, keeping your commitments to the armed forces was very important. I think I will also construct another fleet. And I think this fleet will consist of troop ships. And we'll just go with extra armor and increased stowage, same as we always do. I think 30 should be fine. We're going to need an admiral. We've got a petite bourgeoisie guy idle, so let's assign him. Alright, liberal movement is going down in strength, but increasing in radicalization. Oh no, they've leveled out in activism, so that's wonderful. That's actually very good. We're in drafting now for single-party state, so that's excellent. I still kind of want to take Taiwan, just because China can't really properly defend it. It's got 6 coal mines. Would that really justify it to my people, though? I don't think so. Java. Do we have a truce? We still do. For another 2 years. Alright, so we're probably not going to be able to get up to any more business in Java before the end of the campaign. That's okay. Tidor, what are you doing with your laws? Please go to interventionism. Please have a real economy, Tidor. I beg of you. Booming oil industry. The recent expansion of the oil rigs in Hokushinetsu has boosted confidence in the Empire of Japan's future as an oil producer. If our ancestors had seen such machines powered by a black flammable liquid bursting forth from the earth, they would surely have called our technological marvels the work of the devil. Thank God we live in such enlightened times. Get every drop from those wells. 33% oil extractors throughput for 5 years. Very nice. Very, very nice. So once this is done, we just need to get to whatever it's called. Secret police. Then perhaps we'll do militarized police, I'm not sure. The Haymen are unhappy, but they'll have to continue to be unhappy. Because I can't be bothered. Investment pool is draining under our substantial increases to industry. And there's pasteurization. Refrigerated storage for livestock ranches, fishing wharves, and whaling stations. Let's take a quick look at that. I don't think that's better than what we've got available, but I could be wrong. No. Alright. It's not better than what we've got available. Do these plantations want... Yeah, you like that. You like that better. Now what about these mines? I was looking at the... Okay, no, there we go. Alright. And the lead mines, you feel the same way? Yes, you do. Let me just keep an eyeball on these for a second to make sure that stays that way for a few more weeks, and then we'll be good to go. I recognize that I'm creating unemployment with this, but, you know, it is what it is. Alright, they seem good to go. So... Is there another naval Method. You need concrete fortifications. Alright, well, I'm working on that. Interesting. Okay, so these are not substantially different. That's fine. Textile mills, I could go to automatic power looms. I don't think that would be better, though. Paper mills, would you like... No, you certainly wouldn't. Tooling workshops, certainly wouldn't. Alright. That's fine. You can remain... you can keep doing what you're doing. This is happening because coal is expensive in my market. That's why this is happening. It's because of the coal. Interestingly, my electrics industries are having a little bit of a hard time. Perhaps I have rubber shortages. Now that's curious. Do I have anywhere else I can get rubber from? Plenty of places I can get oil, but can I get rubber? I surely can. Not a lot of places with labor available, except for East Java. Kampuchea, definitely. That's in Cambodia. And, we'll, you know, we'll build up the ones in Sumatra. Alright, so that'll be fine. Artistic expressions. A popular Japanese newsletter has released a statement by Yue Keisuke endorsing several poets known for their sympathies to the Jisha's interests. The ideals of love and comradeship are present therein. But when one looks beyond the surface, one is faced with the precise conditions for such a thing. Those things which foster the highest ideals and can be made manifest in one's daily life. The idols of Japanese culture stand behind our reforms, 7% success chance. Or the support of the Jisha should be rewarded, stronger and happier Jisha. I'm going to go with the first one. I don't need them. With friends like these, the powerful clout that the Heimin hold has become a menacing presence over our government. One of our agents has approached us, suggesting a less conventional solution. The door has been opened without anyone noticing it, until the wind spreads the documents resting upon the wooden desk. Excuse me, a soothing voice announces, carefully picking them up. I hope that my visit doesn't disrupt your important affairs. However, it has been observed that the Heimin are in desperate need of a little guidance towards the right path. That will help both them and us. They surely need our guidance. This will lead to events about diminishing the Heimin's power as securing the power to the Journal of the Empire of Japan. Or this is utterly immoral, this event is dismissed, and we will suppress the Heimin through conventional means. So this is interesting. I don't feel a strong need to suppress the Heimin's power. They're heading up the Constitutional Party. The intelligentsia have become marginalized. They're going to join the National Citizens Alliance, along with the Petit Bourgeoisie, which is a little curious. The Zaibatsu are going to join the Constitutional Government Association, but I think I think that's going to make the Constitutional Government Association the one party, assuming this happens before the election, which I hope it is. I do kind of want to see this. They surely need our guidance. Oh, a Javanese fascist revolt. How interesting. How curious. Okay. So that gives us... Excuse me? Securing the power. The Heimin has become too powerful for their own good. Given the opinion they hold of us, then they are threatening our peaceful government. Will complete if Heimin's clout is less than 20%, and they're not part of the government. If completed triggers the event, the final word will fail if they're part of the government. Alright, so that's so that'll just sort itself out in the fullness of time. Let's take a quick look at our armed forces. Okay, looking good. 5th Japanese Army will rename this the 2nd Snulf. Naval progress is looking good. We're working on those troop ships now. And I wonder if the... So let's call this the logistical fleet. And we'll call this the battle fleet. And we'll see what comes of that. Now, what other increases? I think maybe we increase the size of the Imperial Guard by a bit more. Mysore sides with Java, okay. Now, and I can't join that because I've got a truce. That's fine. But, what was I looking at? I think I'm going to increase the size of the Imperial Guard. First, Snolf has gotten quite large. The Expeditionary Force, I think I'm comfortable with the size of the Expeditionary Force. Maybe I'll go to 60, 40, and 10. I think I'll go to 60, 40, and 10. So, that's 5 additional artillery, 5 additional infantry. And then the Imperial Guard will do 15 more of each. And that should sort out our military expansion. We're also rapidly increasing in rank towards that of Germany and Britain, which I'm feeling quite pleased about. Because I feel like it would be just delightful for our fascist run if we could, upon, or pretty close to when we enact single-party state, surpass our former rivals to become the greatest power the world has ever seen. I think I am going to queue in some additional shipyards. Well, 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 well. Look at this. Let's throw these shipyards at the top of the queue. And then I'm going to throw the rubber plantations ahead of them, because I want to get those done. But what is this? This is a Micronesian uprising in Bali. And where is that happening? Over here. Okay, that's fine. I will simply mobilize the 2nd Special Naval Landing Force. And we'll have that be what it is. I feel extremely confident in my ability to handle that with a minimum of difficulty. Right, there we go. Rubber plantations getting built, shipyards getting built. Excellent. We are falling in infamy as well, so we could maybe do a little bit more imperial aggression. It'd be fun if I finally took over Central Sumatra. An unflattering article. Sorry, just refilling my water here. We've hired unscrupulous journalists to write damning articles about the Heimin, harming their reputation. The reporter for the Japanese Informer twiddles his thumbs nervously. Just one article and you'll pay off all my debts? Just one article. But it has to be on the front page, and it has to eviscerate the Heimin. The pen is mightier than the sword. As government expenses, 37K per week, that's not too bad. Heimin become weaker. Shouldn't journalism include some ethics? Jisha becomes happier. Or why pay when we own the newspaper? This is just the same effect as the first option, but it doesn't cost us any money. Available because we've enacted censorship. Alright, beautiful. I'm going to pick that 3rd one. So that should weaken the Heimin. That might actually get us almost all the way there. We're kind of in a funny spot because we're the intelligentsia somehow became marginalized. The intelligentsia became marginalized because they changed parties. So the Haymen are getting all the benefit of the intelligentsia's previous election win, when they shouldn't be. This is interesting. I'm surprised the communist and socialist movements are still around, because they should be becoming... They should be disappearing. Alright, 67%. Let's see if we get media endorsements. Fine. The Voice of Sendai, a popular newspaper read by the petite bourgeoisie class across the Empire of Japan, has published an article by Yue Keisuke advocating for the enactment of single-party state. Putting out a newspaper without promotion is like winking at a girl in the dark. Well-intentioned, but ineffective. William Randolph Hearst. Who are we to counteract the voice of the people, increase enactment time, reduce enactment success chance, or offer our thanks to the publisher? Increase enactments, not as much reduction in enactment time or increase in enactment success chance, but petite bourgeoisie happier and stronger. I'm going to go with that second one, because stronger petite bourgeoisie is good for my fascist movement. Alright, I don't think anyone's going to get involved in this situation, so... Ooh. A Vietnamese modernist revolt. Look at this. I could back the Vietnamese modernist revolt. That would put me in a war with the British, but I feel like I could potentially win this without a problem. No, I would have... There would be... Well... I control this strait, though. Got a lot more supply than I used to have. Let's go with producing more supply ships from here on out. The temptation's really high, but India could also get in there. If India gets in there, I'll let it be. Because India's got a really substantial army. And this should get me to the power projection, the army power projection that I want to be at. Just as we get the rest of those forces hired. Alright, the battlefield. And there's commitment and enlarge the army completed. So, Mori Kiyotaka needs a promotion to Grand Admiral. Wonderful. And this should be popping off pretty soon. Lovely. So, we'll use the main fleet to transport the second Snulf. Plan an invasion. Use the battle fleet. And that'll be just fine. Oh no, we are still building main fleet ships. Well, we'll continue to build them. I didn't realize I was in the second page, because I do certainly want to finish out these light cruisers, and I do want to finish out my super dreadnoughts, my super duper alley-ooper dreadnoughts. Okay, I'm sorry, I sounded like a real goober there, but that's okay. Nobody cares. Wow, I really have good screening. Disease among the wounded. The deaths from disease amongst the... Oh, for Pete's sake, I forgot to do the methods. Oh, I'm a goof. I'm going to go with the reduced recovery rate. That's fine. I can win this war with no problems. I forgot to assign my methods. I'm not going to reduce organization at all. I can win this war really straightforwardly. And I gotta remember, I always forget to do that. This is why I should create breakaway armies from existing armies. So much bureaucracy, it's bananas. Is there anywhere I'm short of taxation capacity? There actually is. Alright, so there's that. Please enact methods and then return home by being transported by the fleet. Alright, they'll be back in a moment. Cash flow is good because I... Where am I getting all these loyalists from? Legitimacy. Alright, law progressed to voting. Wonderful. We're getting there. 77% we get it on the next pass. That's going to be in 94 days. We'll see what happens. I forgot to join this thing, but that's okay. It probably wasn't going to be useful for me to join that thing. Maori national. Exciting. Relations with Britain are too good, huh? I do have a lot of boats. They still have an alliance with Germany? They do. Germany can't really... Oh no, Germany does have a fleet. Alright, well... I suppose I'll continue to be reasonable. Despite all efforts to the contrary, do I need to produce additional trade capacity? Perhaps I do. I need to increase the size of my meat packing industry. That's what I need. More effective livestock ranches. So that's... I don't have that much capacity to do that. We'll just do a few. That's a substantial increase regardless. And then I just got concrete for fortifications, which means my naval forts can be increased in strength. What do naval forts output? Naval fortification, invasion defense, and battle defense. Can I see how much money I'm spending on naval fortifications? Not really. Which is a shame. I need a little bit more governance capacity in a few different states. Taxation capacity, rather. Alright, that should be fine. Now I'm losing a lot of money. Okay, that went away. Good. Great, I'm pleased. I'm glad everything's going great. Alright, please can we move the new ships into the battle fleet? Alright, now we'll go back to mostly building supply ships, because now we're almost done with this. And these troop ships are going to get built reasonably quickly. So those are launched, very nice. Super Dreadnoughts in 22 weeks. That's very good. Trade unions are led by an ethno-nationalist, not that changes their status. The intelligentsia have showed up again. They're headed up by an ethno-nationalist. And there is single-party state. Alright. Securing the power has been completed. So... well, that's not ideal. The final word. Our efforts to undermine the Haymen's reputation have been extremely successful. With their influence now weakened, it is time for us to attend to more important matters. The door does not open this time. Minutes go by and nothing happens. It's almost a letdown. There's a man in the hallway on the way out, though. He's wearing a velvet frock coat, and you look at him expectantly. Another man goes to him and they leave together. Nothing happens. People will know who to respect, extra authority. We will never let them forget who achieved this, extra legitimacy, or a good time to remind them about our laws. 50% chance of increased authority. I'm going to go with the second one, because I need legitimacy. Now, what is that? Okay, there we go. Now they've reset themselves. Petite bourgeoisie, daimyo, and zaibatsu in government, and everyone else in opposition. Lovely. Now, can I make it to ethno-state? I can. Only people opposing are the Haymen. Let's do it. I now have a bunch of authority. Let me see. My reactionary movement is not actually going to help me do much. Fascist movement. They could help me get to social monarchy, which would be quite interesting. Actually, maybe I'll go there next. So maybe I'll bolster my fascist movement. Let's do that. In fact, no, I'll keep my consumption taxes where they are at the moment. I do still kind of need the money. And then, yeah, that's all I'm going to do for now. Liberal movement has gone up to protesting. They are going to go up to... yeah, okay. Alright, so they're upset because of ethno-state. Now, I can negotiate with the Zaibatsu, but I'm not going to because they're a pain. I could throw a consumption tax on porcelain. Perhaps I shall. We'll do coffee. We'll do coffee. I can always cut it later. I can also negotiate with daimyo, but alright. So we got a liberal movement threatening to pop off. They're gonna get just Kyoto, and that's fine. I'm completely fine if they revolt. I'm extremely confident in my ability to crush them. Fleet construction queue is not full. Perhaps we'll build some more super dreadnoughts. And then let's put some more troop ships in the logistical fleet. Alright, so their transport is pretty good. I'm just going to throw another 30 troop ships in here. Untrained hands. Children working in textile mills in Tokai have suffered injuries trying to operate the machinery used in production. After examining the boy's hand, the doctor sat back down, turned to the mother, and sighed deeply. Well, I'm afraid your son is never going to become a great musician, he said. But then again, perhaps that was never one of his more likely prospects. Keep children off the factory floor, reduce dependents' income. When these new industries need all the employees they can get. Trade unions unhappy, increase mortality. I'm actually gonna increase. I'm actually gonna pick the second one because I don't care if the trade unions are unhappy; they're marginalized, and extra mortality doesn't hurt me at all. My population is so very high. I'm paying so much in welfare; it's bananas. Chances of advances are pretty high. I do want to try to get to social monarchy before the end of the game, because I'm curious about that. I'm not exactly sure what that's meant to represent. Let's take another quick look at the market. I need more hardwood, holy crap. What about softwood? Softwood is quite affordable. What if I go to dedicated hardwood production? Would that make us more... Where's my logging camps? Here we go. We're already there. Interesting. I know I got more places I can produce wood. Kyushu. Azochi. Let's max out Korea's wood production as well. Just to... Second-class citizens. Ryukuin people have spoken out against the passing of ethno-state legislation, arguing they deserve the same rights as any other citizens. What has possessed the leaders of this nation to think of us as enemies? Have we not toiled together, suffered together, eaten at the same tables, lived as brothers and sisters up until now? Our children will remember a country their parents helped build, a country that treated them fairly, as a country that turned its back on them when overcome with bigotry and malice. It is not too late to turn back. There are noxious and foreign presence. 10% of Ryukuin pops become more radical, reduce enactment success chance by 10%. Or they're part of Japanese society but must be segregated, reduce enactment success chance by 20%. I'm going to pick the first one. That's not an ideal way to start here, but I think we can still keep going. When you have a hammer. General E. Shigeto, noting severe unrest in Kyoto, has proposed using the army to suppress the agitation in the area. While his political allies support him, there is heavy risk to following his plan. It's simple. We have an army, and there is the enemy. Let me deploy my men and do what is needed, and the enemy shall be vanquished. That is all there is to it. Reprimand the general and reject the plan. He's demoted to brigadier general, petite bourgeoisie unhappy. Use the tools we have to solve the problems we have. 33% chance secession movement goes down, 66% chance it goes up. Or, perhaps the major general can consider a kinder plan. If he's honorable and doesn't have any of pillager, bandit, wrathful, or social bandit, reduce liberal movement succession by 5%. I'm going to pick that third one. That's great. I just realized I don't want to be in... I don't want to be doing ethno-state. I want to be doing secret police. So I think maybe I cancel this. Can I get to social monarchy? If I go to social monarchy, my Zaibatsu will become angry. Same if we go to corporate state, frankly, because they're... Oh, curious. I'm unclear what social monarchy... I mean, social monarchy says a political system in which the state positions itself as the ultimate mediator between the nation's corporate groups. The monarchy is held to be a symbol of the country's national identity. It's like the corporate state version of monarchy, but it... I don't know, it's weird. It's weird, it's hard to get to. So maybe... Yeah, I'm gonna cancel this. Ooh, but then I'll only have a year to do it later. No, I've got to do it now. I've got to do it now. That's what I've got to do. No. I'm not going to try to get the Zaibatsu on board. Certainly not going to try to get the Daimyo on board. How's the shipbuilding queue? Pretty good. Second set of super dreadnoughts is under construction. More troop ships being built. That's very good. Where are we in the rankings? 3,800. And there's stormtroopers. I thought we were a lot higher than that. Dang. We're still only number 6 in GDP. We've fallen back below Great Britain, which is curious. I thought we were above Great Britain for a bit. Maybe that was only in prestige. I'm gonna unpin the general strike because I don't... That's good to go. We're fine. We're fine. That's good to go. We've got taking legitimacy. Yeah, alright, so we'll continue to chip away at ethno-state for the time being. Now, I realize I haven't colonized Sakhalin yet. I suppose I could. Let's do it. A viewer pointed out that I had not colonized Sakhalin. And it was quite the end of the game. Well, gosh, I certainly need some food production here. Confusion and delay. Supporters of ethnostatum and the Hei Min, headed by Kataoka Chikako, have questioned the government publicly on the amount of time that is required in order for the law to pass. The government is, at this time, carrying out an atrocity through cold bureaucracy. It favors procedure over lives, paperwork over hunger. How many people need to suffer for the sake of the feelings of some government functionaries who've never felt a speck of hunger in their lives? Documents can wait, ladies and gentlemen, but the people suffering cannot. The bill will be passed when the process is complete. Stronger and more active fascist movement, that's good. Extra authority, that's also good. Or documents can wait, the people cannot. More active fascist movement. Reduce enactment time. Reduce bureaucracy. We have 15% extra bureaucracy. But I think I'm going to do the first one, because a stronger and happier and more active fascist movement is good, actually, for my purposes. Let's throw a consumption tax on porcelain with all of this delicious, all this delicious authority that we've got. I'm also going to add a food industry here, and we will simply subsidize the place, as well as the fishing wharves. And we have a port already. Subsidize. That's fine. We are experiencing substantial colony growth. I could increase colonial investment there, but I don't feel like that's super duper useful. I guess I kind of don't have anything else to do with all my excess bureaucracy, so let's do it. I can always go back down if I need to. Where are they getting all that prestige? It's probably Navy power projection. It's GDP of subjects. It's from still having control over India. Wait a minute. Ah. I need better relations with India. Let's do it. They're unhappy towards me, but that's okay. I think I want to support their independence, because they've got a treaty with the Russians. And if I support their independence, that'll weaken Britain, and that's good for me. Again, just thinking long term. I know there's not really a long term in this campaign, but just thinking that way. Wow. Private sector is using almost all of that government, almost all of that construction. There surely is demand for airplanes overseas. I could produce more of those. The measure of a skull. Professors at the University of Japanese Hizochi believe that their theories employing craniometry can be used to demonstrate racial differences, rallying support for ethno-state. There are, of course, individual differences, which can provide some astounding insights into the nature of base and criminal traits, but the differences between larger groups are our current focus. I have here the skull of a normal Japanese citizen of sound mind and body and life, kindly donated to our institution. It represents the highest stage of humanity. Now, as I'm sure you can imagine, some of our other specimens in my collection are substantially less advanced. Fascinating. Fetch the calipers. Reduced university throughput in Hizochi but increased knifing success chance. Or don't waste time in this nonsense, half as much knifing success chance. We'll go with the first one, 38% knifing success chance. Let's make up the science. Race science. Friendship ended with race science. Race wizardry as my new best friend. Okay, so what else What else? I'm going to reduce taxes. Heck it. I don't care. Everybody can get paid. Ooh, electricity shortage in Azochi. That's not a big deal. Well, private sector is building a power plant. What are the local prices looking like? Let me just make sure this isn't. This is okay. It isn't. It is a requirement shortage, but I will. They're already subsidized. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Boy, I have a lot of interests. I'm very interesting. That's probably not what that means. This war... Okay, so Dynam is winning that war with Britain's help, but they're taking their sweet time about it. Tabriz has started to exist. Alright, so... Alright, we got a little bit more, a little bit more country over here. Still very low population. Oh my goodness, the population is truly tiny. This place is never going to work out. Over a drink. In an obscure meeting, Kataoka Chikako and a proxy of the armed forces rambled at length about the positives of ethnostate. One was cognizant enough to take minutes. Well, that's the problem with the new law. If you don't remove those other supporting laws, someone can exploit those loopholes and escape its reach. Unless you count the two laws about evasion without plausible doubt, then you have a crafty seal that catches those rogue actors. Commend them for their good work. Stronger and happier armed forces in Hey Min, extra rapid success chance, or I don't want to read all this. Matters of governments are for the government, not dens of sin. Stronger and 70% chance they get stronger and happier. 25% chance they get weaker and angrier. 5% chance someone dies. And we get 5% enactment success chance. I'm going to pick the second one. We're going to see what happens. Well, they got stronger and happier. So we'll see. I don't think that's going to affect my politics. Election. Okay, Orthodox Constitutional Government Party is going to win because they're the only party. And I can't put anyone else. I can't change up the structure. I can pull interest groups in, but I can't push interest groups out. For whom the bell tolls, the aged Tokugawa Kitohito, leader of the daimyo, has unexpectedly expired mid-campaign, robbing the Orthodox Constitutional Government Party of a cornerstone politician. The question of his replacement is now on everyone's lips. Unexpected? Bah! That old bag of bones was long overdue to meet his maker. It's about time that party saw some new blood. Go with a popular but inept candidate, a new character, or the determined but haughty youngster secures the chair. I'm going to go with the popular but inept candidate because we're talking about a daimyo character and I don't care. Alright, so who's our leader now? Expensive tastes, arrogant hedonist. Nice! Excellent. So that shouldn't change our anythings. Yeah, I still can't put them out. A French legitimist revolt? Really? In 1933, huh? Consisting solely of Orléans-Berry. That's very funny. That's extremely funny. I am tickled by this. Tickled, I tells ya. Russia improving relations. Oh, the Russians and the Ottomans are going to fight. Sadly, I can't get involved. Reaching 0.3k supply ships. That's pretty good. And I finished... Okay, I've nearly finished out my logistics fleet. But the battle fleet needs a new admiral. So, we've already got Tamon Michisura. So we'll put him in charge. We'll give him a promotion. We'll give him another promotion. And is that sufficient? Command capacity? It does appear that it is. Wonderful. Let's go ahead and... I need to build more naval administration. Gorsh. I certainly do. Alright, we need an admiral for our logistical fleet now. Let's grab this guy. He's a naval commander. And then we'll get ourselves some naval administration. I'm going to need a lot more naval administration. 5, 10... Let's hope that's enough. We'll see. We'll see if that ends up being enough. Well, actually, this guy needs another promotion. It turns out he needs another promotion. Wonderful. Perfect. Now he's ready to go. And this other guy needs a promotion as well. Grant peerage. Reduce authority for 2 years. He becomes a noble. Interesting. Can I do that to this guy, actually? I can't... Ideology too different from that of our ruler. Very interesting. Very interesting. What is Emperor Taisho's ideology? He's a moderate. Alright. Curious. Quite curious. That's certainly an interaction I haven't seen before. Obviously this is costing us a barrel full of cash, but that's okay with me. Not getting many election events, but I think that's intentional. Coffee talk. Ethno state was on everyone's lips in every coffee house. Afterwards, Kataoka Chikako was ready to cross the Heimin to help pass the law. Wise counsel advises against conflating the voice of the people with the voice of God. Wiser counsel calls the voice of the people mad. The wisest counsel understands that genius and madness are two sides of the same coin. It's a matter of knowing when to listen. Welcome this change of heart. 50% chance he increases in popularity. 45% chance that he gets stronger and happier. 25% chance he's exiled and becomes a political martyr. And 5% enactment success chance either way. Or shield her from the Heimin's blowback. Weaker Heimin, stronger petite bourgeoisie. 5% increase in enactment success chance. I think I'll go with the second one. Stronger petite bourgeoisie, don't mind if I do. Don't mind if I do it. Do it. Momentum 23%. Projected votes 100%. Wonderful. Do I still have tradition of free elections? I don't. Well, I mean, that probably makes sense, right? Kobayama Koichiro has retired. I don't think that changes anything. I don't think that changes a single solitary anything. Kindly burn this letter. Muto Sadao, a member of the Orthodox Constitutional Government Party and the one of the daimyo, the leader of them, I think, the guy who just joined, has been accused of gross corruption. He strenuously denied all allegations until damning letters surfaced signed by him. Yes, I'm willing to discuss the contents of these letters with the committee, if only I'm given time to study the content of the letters in my personal chambers first. Of course, on my honor, I will not alter or destroy any of the evidence. Honest. The Orthodox Constitutional Government Party should stand by Muto Sadao and deny everything. Sadao should be isolated to protect the rest of the party. He loses popularity. Are there allies who could, in the Orthodox Constitutional Government Party, who could speak in Muto's defense? This is available because we got a charismatic character over here. Regardless, though, and this is half the reduced momentum for the first one, but I think he's just going to lose popularity. We'll protect the rest of the party. Thank you very much. Alright, so population here is increasing. We are now producing some things. How is... Okay, not a starvation issue. Wonderful. Prejudiced employers. Ainu people are having a hard time getting employed in Japanese Izochi due to the prejudices of some Japanese employers. I went to apply for a warehouse job. They took one look at me and told me the job wasn't for my kind. Work is for everyone for reduced authority, or it's up to the bosses to decide who they hire, -2 standard of living for Ainu in Japanese Izochi. You know I'm going with that second one. That's what I've been doing this whole time. Food industries here are almost done. Are we having a And there's a new mandate. Wonderful. And now we'll get Police Coordination 3. Which gives us a barrel full of authority to play with. So... let me see. Do I increase the power of my reactionary movement? I don't think so. I don't think I need to. Let me see. I will suppress... I'll bolster my Japanese supremacist movement. And I'll suppress my feminist movement. And that will be... if I cut a consumption tax, I can also bolster my Mahayana traditionalist movement? Is that right? Is that what I want to do? They're going to try to make me go to state religion. No, because because the G-Sha are annoying. I'm good. I'm good with that. We'll consumption tax coffee again. Who says you can't? Alright, election is nearly complete. Our first election with single-party state. Still haven't made any progress on ethno-state. We're hurtling towards the end of the campaign. But that shouldn't be a problem. Dominion of India relations are improving. What country is this? Perak. Interesting. Ooh, there's multilateral alliances. Wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And for research, we're doing... that's right, we're doing tanks. Election results in the Empire of Japan are in. The Orthodox Constitutional Party has secured 100% of the vote. Ethno-state is in consideration. And that is the... okay, that's everything. Lovely. That's all she wrote. Armed forces have become marginalized. Maybe I should have brought the armed forces in, but... anyway, can't worry about it now. Do not have any capacity for worrying about it now. I could hold a grand exhibition. What technologies you have to show? That's interesting. Perhaps I will. Perhaps this will be like my my Berlin Olympics. That'll be nice. That'll be nice. What does the fascist movement actually want? They like secret police, they like single-party state, they like ethno-state, they like mass conscription, they like outlawed dissent, they like corporate state and social monarchy, they like corporatized unions. Alright, cool. Perhaps I will go to social monarchy and offer empty promises to the Zaibatsu. The Edo Advocate, an explicitly partisan newspaper founded by members of the liberal movement in Edo, has published its first issue. Between advertisements and political cartoons, it hosts ruthless critique of government policy. There was a certain brilliance to it. By printing it on the cheapest paper, by skimping on ink, by flooding it with advertisements and large text, one could produce a profitable paper for only a penny per copy, whilst its competitors sold for 5 to 10 times that amount. By making that paper relentlessly and shamelessly endorse a certain viewpoint, one could have every working person in the city aware of it by evening. If one's competitors refused to stoop that low, they would become responsible for their own suffocation. How long can a partisan paper last? Increased liberal movement, or is that so deny them a printing license? Weaker liberal movement, but more active. I'm actually going to do the second one. I think that'll be better. Let's also... I think I need a new fleet. I think I want chiefly cruisers. And this will be like a convoy escort fleet, basically. Actually, we'll rename the logistical fleet the transport fleet. And we'll name this fleet the escort fleet. I think this is how the game wants it to be done. I can recruit an admiral. Let's go with an armed forces fella. That should be just fine. And now we're building cruisers again. Let's actually go to half and half. I'm spending a really substantial amount on goods for ships. And that's okay. That's just fine. How am I for naval manpower? Alright, I'm doing pretty good. So that should be fine. I should have plenty of... let me actually, before I get too far with this, let me take a look. Okay, these places are fully hired. Okay, so hold on. 15, 15, 15. So that's 45. 55, 65. 80. 90. 120k. So that's 120k naval manpower available. Now my battle fleet has 90k naval manpower. My transport fleet 12k. So that's 18k left over. Alright, so that should be fine. That should be just fine. So, rousing speech captivates the public. This afternoon, Jutoku Yoshiko, leader of the intelligentsia, delivered a fiery speech advocating for the enactment of ethno-state. Making an appearance before the public in Kyoto's main square, Jutoku Yoshiko's powerful rhetoric left even his most embittered political opponents impressed. Excerpts from the speech are already being circulated across the Empire of Japan, fanning the fires of an already roaring debate. This should ease the path to reform greatly, or performances like this reflect well on Jutoku Yoshiko and his cause. The second one gives us less enactment success chance, but he gets some popularity and the intelligentsia becomes stronger. The first one just gives us all enactment success chance. I'm going with that first one. Okay, I'm just quickly checking if there are any movements that'll be against social monarchy. Except for, the usual suspects. All right. Come on. You wouldn't bail out of my anythings. Let me take a quick look at my subjects. Bali is not currently doing anything. Slavery banned, interventionism, proportional taxation. You're doing great. Oh, right, because UI released. All right. You're a puppet. Let's make you a protectorate. Tidor, you haven't done anything. Cambodia, you're at interventionism. You're still doing debt slavery. You're in the hands of your Theravada monks. Interesting. Very interesting. Can you go to a dedicated police force? Please, thank you. I should have changed their taxation so that their taxation was better. That's what I should have did. I could go after Java one more time. If I went after Java, hypothetically. 24.3 infamy, Mysore stands with them. But nobody else. On the other hand, Java, you're a major still. So I could not... No. Still, I think that's the right call. Now, before I do this, do I have the ability to stage my expeditionary force over there? I do not. My battle fleet does have enough transport capacity for my entire Imperial Guard. But would I have enough supply? I think so. I've been building a lot of supply ships. What do you have going on, Mysore? Not much. And again, if I did this, no one would stop me, except for Mysore. Let's do it. Let's do it. One more run at Java. In fact, maybe we'll take the rest of Java as well. Oh, I've made a mistake. I've made a terrible error. Oops. I don't have a border with them right now. Alright, so I think to solve this problem, I'm going to mobilize both my ships, and I'm going to combine them. So I go Jiro, you need a promotion. So this is 60 units of assault marines, 50 units of artillery, 15 units of cavalry, 20 units of infantry. So that's 60 units of marines and 15, 50, 20 regular, how much is this? 85 regular units. So my battle fleet does have the capacity to transport that. My transport fleet does not. Alright, but that should be enough. Obviously we're losing money now, but that's okay. Do I add another war goal? Specifically, do I add a oh my. There are a bunch of places I could conquer, but none of them that matter more than West Java. Actually, wait. Before I do this, do I have the ability to call in Bali? No. Interesting. I have the ability to call in Asha. I think that will not goof up my supply too bad. So let's try it. Regime change, but I don't want to regime change them. I want to conquer them. That's okay. Let's try that. Alright, so now... Well, there's mobile armor. Alright, so now... Let's take the Snulf. Put them on the front. We'll have the main fleet transport them. Hopefully this will not prove a giant error. Legislation imposed on Tidor refused. Okay, that is what it is. Okay, that's not a completely unreasonable amount of source sides of Java. Okay. Compromising the people, a stall event. The representatives of the daimyo in the government have demanded several compromises on the enactment of ethno-state. The measures have already been condemned by supporters of Kataoka Chikako as corrosive to the reform as a whole. The word of the mob in the street will not change the nature of the national interest. We have chosen to stand by our principles and avert this government from making a terrible mistake. That is all, and that is all there will ever be. The support of the daimyo is not worth the damage done. Increased enactment time, he becomes more popular. Or, Kataoka will complain, but we will act. One setback, increased enactment success chance, more active fascist movement. I'm going to go with the second one. I'm in consideration. I got 80% success chance. I think I'm okay with that. Right, we're going to see how this goes. Cruisers are taking their sweet time being built. That's okay. Alright, we'll see how things look once this army is here. They're actually getting a good amount of loyalists now that I've got a substantially legitimate government. Obviously this war is kind of a giant subsidy for much of our industry, but that's okay. In fact, it's great. Alright. Okay, so that does put us in a supply crunch. So we will swap over to focusing on supply ship production. How short are we? Not that much. And our force comparison's good, so if I should have brought the Imperial Guard. Well, that's okay. I think we can win going forward. I think we have the capacity. I can't upgrade these units because I don't have any tanks. I'm not producing tanks. Alright, so before we do that, I need to produce tanks. Let's grab one of our auto industries. Go to tank production. You just think you're unproductive. Now I'll have tanks available. And now I can upgrade my squad infantry. And I still can't upgrade my other stuff directly. No such thing as armored marines. Shame that. And then all of our other armies can have their types upgraded as well, and that'll be good to go. Empty pockets. A series of perceived poor decisions by the corporatist movement has led to a notable decrease in its ability to raise money. Numerous wealthy sympathizers have quietly halted their support for the movement in its current form. We do not wish to appear partisan. Always the same refrain. The organizer paced back and forth within his office, fist clenched until it felt as if his knuckles were about to burst through his skin. Occasionally he stole a glance at the unopened envelopes on his desk, all of which he knew would repeat a variation on the same. Partisan. What did it mean? That they cared for something? That they'd chosen to do something beyond count the money in their vaults? He had something important to do, something which would improve society itself. They had a chance to do the same. In that light, how could partisanship possibly be bad? Perhaps it will find alternate source of funds. 2% of pops in Kyoto become more loyalists. Corporatist movement weaker, or everything dies in the end, some weaker than others. Corporatist movement significantly weaker. I'm just going to pick the first one. I like the loyalists. I think that's a reasonable decision. Now, let's actually get this fleet. Well, actually, no. With that fleet in port, we don't have any left. So there's the war popping off. Supply is good. We have sufficient supply ships. So let's get going forward and see what this looks like. I'm not sure to what extent assault marines help with a straight crossing battle. And we are going forward Looks like we're winning. Looks like we're winning. I forgot to add the other war goal, but that's okay. That was dumb. That was dumb of me. I should have added that other war goal. The ace officer, Psycho Jiro, has gained renown not merely for utilizing aircraft in battle, but for even flying one himself over the skies of South Sumatra. The papers are calling him the Silver Cat. He's astounding. I can't tell if it would be better to parade him around at home or keep sicking him on everyone in South Sumatra. Hero worship will help domestically. He gets a bunch of popularity, and the war sport increases by 10. Or war heroes need to stay in the war. He gets extra army offense forever. I'm going to go with that second one. 30 extra army offense. Don't mind if I do. Alright, so we're hurtling towards ethno-state. 80% chance of it happening in a month. And after that, we'll see what our other options are. I would like to try out social monarchy, but I will also complete. There was an event that was supposed to go off if I got if I got secret police, but I guess that's gone now. Excuse me? American Michigander White Piece? America, what is happening? America, you're falling apart. What is going on here? Look at this. Michigan is an anarchist commune. Carolina is a free republic. Georgia is a republic. The Haudenosaunee are a republic. Bananas. Florida is a republic that's in its own civil war against its anarchist revolt. I don't know what's going on over there, America, but that's funny. That's funny. This is going on the channel. We're getting a big old picture of that. That's so funny. All right, so we are winning our war. We have supply available. That's probably because of casualties? No. Not because of casualties. It just feels like it's because of casualties. All right, there we go. We're making substantial progress. We've got 63% occupation. Very nice. Allies of convenience. Just as the ethno-state law looked ready to topple at 80% success chance, the Heimin found itself rallying with the existence of Kataoka Chikako. Now it has the support it needs to pass without compromise. When support was called, the unlikeliest hand in the audience rose. Another hand lifted and a third behind them. The faction with the least to gain from its passage, yet nothing to lose either way, assents. Cheers of exuberance followed howls of defeat as the law charged on the head. Welcome their support. Increased enactments. 1% of Japanese pops become more loyal. That's pretty good. Heimin stronger, extra enactments test chance. Retaliate this favor, they surely will. Stronger and happier petite bourgeoisie, but also Heimin. And 5% enactments test chance. I'm going to go with the first one. I love loyalists. Alright, so that means it's going to be another 71 days before we get another run at it, but it should be fine. This conveyor's unlocked. Wonderful. So, let me just take a quick look at our market. In particular, I want to see, are we... Okay, we could be producing more planes. Tanks are cheap, which is fine. Oh, we don't have access to mass production. That's not until compression ignition. Interesting. I should research compression ignition, actually. Let me see. Are we finished in Tier 4? We are. We're not. We still have not finished electric arc process. If we go to compression ignition, it's only 23 months. Let's do it. Let's queue it in after aircraft carrier. Do our promotion. The petite bourgeoisie demand the promotion of Major General E. Shigeto, touting his history of loyal and effective service. So many medals adorned his jacket that one could scarcely see the fabric beneath, but it was not yet enough. Chest puffed out with pride, the general smiled as he imagined the look on Saigo's face when the lieutenant general learned of his imminent ascension. Their rivalry was legendary among the officers. At last, he would have his due. He's earned it. Petite bourgeoisie happy. He's promoted. Or they will not force our hand. They get unhappy. He loses popularity. I'm going to do the first one. Stronger petite bourgeoisie is good for the nation. Russia. You want mutual investment rights? Your economy is still bigger than mine. Now. Interesting. I own 1,110 levels of China's economy. That's incredible. They're sinking my ships. I don't like that. All right, and there is, I believe, the capital taken over. And soon, Central Java will be mine. And then I can get rid of Yogyakarta and those other countries. Now, if I... Giants of the Seas. Tamon Mishitsura's use of battleships during the ongoing war has demonstrated that these massive constructions may still serve a purpose in modern warfare. The young girl looked wide-eyed at the ship floating in the harbor. Looks like it took all the world's steel to build. How many such boats are there? Of this immensity, only one, the Admiral replied. But you can be sure that as soon as our enemies find out about it, there will be two, miss. Their presence will be a compelling argument, increased influence. By their might will rule the seas, extra prestige from Navy power projection, or will put this tactical experience to good use. Free progress on modern battlefleet tactics. You know I'm going with that third one. I'm using supply ships, but I'm not sure where. Oh, here. Alright, well... Send out the battle fleet. Alright, so we should generate a new... So this is supply ships right now, but we should generate a new battle with our battle fleet pretty soon. Alright, here we go. Alright, here we go. Okay, so now we have real ships in here. We still seem to be losing here. And there is ethnostate. Excellent. I think this number means we're doing better. Alright, so now I can go to secret police, but I want to try going to social monarchy, because this is new. I want to see how it works. Alright, so we're going to negotiate with the Zaibatsu right away. They won't negotiate. Well, fine then. I guess we'll see what the stall chance becomes. 29%. Okay, now they'll negotiate. I could tolerate political concessions for the Zaibatsu. 150 authority is not that much at this stage. Let's do it. Political concessions ahoy. They're not happy about it, but they're happy enough. Alright. Let's go ahead and bring the snow... We'll leave the snowf where they are for now, because I think we've basically got this in the bag. What if I just didn't regime change them? That would be extremely funny. All right. So now, Surakarta is free. Yogyakarta is free. Let's eat them. No one steps in if I do this. And then when all this is finished, we'll incorporate these states into Bali. Java, are you a minor yet? You're still a major. Incredible. I'll admit, I'm just going to social monarchy because it's interesting to me. I didn't realize that that had been added to the game, and I'm not sure what it does. Not sure what it's about. Escort fleet needs a new... Maybe their organization will increase over time. Yeah, it will. Okay. Alright. They had a supply shortage, but that's done now. The battle fleet can return to Japan. They will not be needed in this war. Frankly, I think Stronger Zaibatsu is just a completely reasonable... is just a completely in keeping with our character way of approaching social monarchy. Investment pool is looking pretty good. Cash flow is obviously a little bit rough. But I could easily increase taxation to low, and that would be fine. Standard of living is pretty okay. I am substantially increasing in loyalists. I am draining my gold reserve. I have 308 nationally owned building levels, so that's something that I could easily solve. I suppose I could go in there with a smaller army and do this, but this army's already here. I do think ultimately, despite everything, I think the changes to armed forces are actually still pretty good. I think they make a basic amount of sense. Maybe I'll separate out my Snulfs when this war is done, and then I can go after Yogyakarta with just the smaller one, because I think Yogyakarta similarly has basically no population or strength. Iroquois national movement. Is GDP still number 6? Still number 6. I've gotten up above the United States or Russia in prestige, which is good. I think part of this is due to my constructing substantially larger ships. That's interesting. I think that happened all at once, and it happened because my mega ships got moved into my my battle fleet. So let's go ahead and we'll put in another 5 super dreadnoughts. Again, this is basically just for role-playing reasons, because we're currently building a bunch of other stuff. So there's that. And then do I break off? I think I do. So, new army. Let me see. 5 Lancers. 20 Assault Marines. 10 Siege Artillery. Confirm. This becomes the second Snulf. I've got an idle general I can throw in there. Let's use Yoshimichi. First Snulf will move back to Japan using the main battle fleet to transport them, and then we declare an annex on Yogyakarta. We'll mobilize the second Snulf for that. And they'll get that done very handily, and we won't need to worry about all the other stuff. Alright. Beautiful, and that should be able to be done before the end of the game, if I'm not mistaken. Hey, we're in consideration. Wonderful. If we can get... We're not going to be able to get to social monarchy before the game ends, unfortunately. But, it'll be nice. We're halfway through the game. Look at all this. We have made ourselves some freaking mega cities. Look at all this. Look at all this. And ultimately, we've held true to our traditional values, including by establishing a... Oh, hey, look at this. There's actually stuff here. Wonderful. Not a lot of population, but we can deal with that. Yeah, look at all this. You know, we never... There were some things I did that were not sort of perfect from a values perspective. Obviously, regulatory bodies is something I could have gone away from. Public and schools and health insurance, I think that was reasonable at the time. I think those were sort of tactical mistakes more than they were sort of things I shouldn't have done from a role-playing perspective. But I think they were reasonable. I think the other stuff is basically good, though. Like, I think on the whole, I basically did what I set out to do. I'm particularly pleased with having gotten to see those fascist events. I think those are interesting. I'm short of iron. Really? Oh, I guess I am. Yogyakarta backs down. Lovely. Yogyakarta claims Central Java. From where? Wow, I've maxed out iron production in Japan. I had no idea I had done that. I need to build some more railways in Gwanbuk. Oh, no, I'm not. Gwanbuk is all infrastructure all the time. Alright, this army is going to need this guy. We will return him to Japan using the transport fleet. And then, let's hand this territory over to Bali, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. And then these three armies can all be disbanded. Beautiful. Wonderful. And Bali continues to grow stronger. They are now a minor power. Java is still technically a major, only holding Western Java and a plethora of islands. Come on, please get off of traditionalism. I just said no. Golly gee willikers. Through the suppression of movements, we have created a powerful Japan. How much actual authority am I producing right now? 2.25k. So a really substantial amount. I'm surprised that Emperor Taisho lasted this long, because he's 56 right now, and we're in the Showa period. We're in the thick of the early Showa period. So, it's interesting. Should be... Yeah, significant increases to our investment pool with the government constructing all these coal mines. But I gotta solve my coal problem. I mean, that's just the nature of the beast, isn't it? I'm gonna halt subsidies to these other buildings to see if the coal mines can effectively hire. Oh, I completely goobered my infrastructure. Nice. I'm terrible at video games. Cool. Oh, I'm so good at video games. In fact, I think we'll... So it's the railways, I guess. Ah, because there's no power. Well, that's okay. I guess we'll need to build a power plant as well. Anyway, that will be for... only for the future. So, it's getting on towards the end of the residual category. Though visibly favoring sectors of employment deemed productive, the government has successfully built support for the establishment of a social monarchy. Their opponents have been decried as unproductive and parasitic. When one analyzes the sum of production in the capitalist economy, one comes to the conclusion that there are two primary categories into which the population may be subdivided. The productive category, those who produce material alterations of nature, and the residual category, those who do not. The former produces value and the latter voraciously consumes it. This latter category includes in capitalist society the capitalists themselves, bureaucrats of all sorts, security forces, clerks, professionals, and service workers. The former category justifies its existence by creating the conditions to reproduce itself. But how does the latter? Quality work is a Japanese tradition. Increased enactment success chance, lionized productive labor, increased radicalism for discriminated pops, or for an honest regime of productive classes, extra loyalists from high legitimacy, extra success enactment success chance, petite bourgeoisie stronger. Well, I'm definitely going to go with that second one. Extra loyalists from high legitimacy, I need that real bad. That's pretty good, friends. That's pretty good. We actually have our loyalists going up and radicals going down, which is bananas. The soldier's disease. After his return from duty, Major General Matsumae Yoshinobu has not been the same. He avoids the barracks like the plague, refuses to use a weapon, and he has stated damn clearly that he doesn't want to hear a damned word about war. So this is our Major General, our leader of the Imperial Guard. He wakes up in the middle of the night, drenched in sweat, screaming. He looks at me and doesn't recognize me, just points and asks about his brother, his dear brother. Sometimes he even tries to get something to throw at me. Where am I? He yells, his eyes seeing past me. Those memories would wreck any man. This needs to be treated. He removes shell shock but loses popularity. He can get the appropriate treatment in an asylum far from the public eye. He's sent to an asylum. Jisha gets upset. Or this is just another instance of cowardice. Send him back to service. 50% chance he becomes an alcoholic. The Jisha become angry. I'm just going to do the first one. I don't want him to have shell shock, so if I can get rid of it, that's great. Zaibatsu petition government. Kataoka Yoshida, the ever-efficacious leader of the Zaibatsu, has approached the government with a plan to enact Terakoya private schools. A successful enactment is certain to contribute to his reputation as an effective politician. A word, please. The minister, halfway out the door, startled at the sound. A man stood in the hallway, bearing a leather-bound dossier. Kataoka, he knew. His appearance was unmistakable. Yes, of course, he said. Should I? Kataoka gave a nod and handed over the folder. At least 100 pages, judging by the weight. I'm willing to raise the first draft tomorrow, he said. I would be honored to have your support. We'll see what we can do. I don't want to pass Terakoya. That's the one Japan starts with, and it's certainly not better than public schools. So I'll offer them private health insurance as a compromise. That's okay. It's going to wreck our standard of living, but, you know, it's not going to happen. So, let me see. Did we build a powerful alliance? You know, we built a substantial alliance. I did my best to keep my... I did establish a network of subjects in Asia. Not as strong a one as I was hoping, but here's the thing. I did my best to get them fixed up and get them moved to protectorate status so that they could govern their own affairs, and I feel like that's a pretty substantial difference from how I did it. I felt like we established a solid alliance with the goal of reducing, of preventing enemy aggression. I think we did a good job with that. This is a very solid military treaty here. We also unified our market, which is pretty cool. Yeah, we got Korea, we got the Philippines, we got almost all of Borneo, we got almost all of Sumatra, we got almost all of Java, we got the Sunda Isles, and of course we got the Celebes and Western New Guinea and the Moluccas. So like, we did a substantial job. I wish I could have pushed more into Asia, into mainland Asia, but I didn't want to actually. I think going after Britain when I don't really understand the naval system as well as I could is a big risk. Um, so I chose to play it safer on that. I think if this run were to continue, there would definitely be a place for me going after Britain. Although, gosh darn, they sure have an enormous fleet. Can I see 80 capital ships, 55 super dreadnoughts. Jeepers! See, that's madness. How could such a fleet possibly function? 25 super dreadnoughts. Yeah, I mean, once again, it is very, very difficult to get up over Great Britain in this game. It is just really, really difficult. That having been said, I've had a good time with this run. I think this was an interesting run. It was an interesting introduction to the Great Wave. Japan had a lot of cool flavor events that I got to look into, so that was pretty cool. Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about my overall performance, and I'm feeling good about doing a profoundly conservative run without while at the same time sort of having doing something specific with my role playing that I was able to accomplish to a degree, to create a greater East Asian co-prosperity sphere that at least kind of did the thing it was supposed to do. 128 million GDP at the end of the game, pretty solid. Standard of living 14.9, could be better. Prestige, huge. Population, huge. I needn't have looked to population nearly as much as I could have. I ended up with a high unemployment by the end of the game, which the fact that I was running poor laws made a substantial cost. But I also, made use of that. So let's go to round mode. Population still largely laborers. Political strength mostly in the hands of capitalists. No one's surprised by that. So this looks like about 3/8 of the political strength. 1 additional eighth each in the hands of engineers and shopkeepers, and another chunk for aristocrats. I'm surprised this isn't more. I guess a lot of capitalists identified with our petite bourgeoisie in this run. Virtually our entire population was Japanese. All of our political strength worth mentioning was held by Japanese pops. When you're in an ethno-state in the late game, that's not shocking. Once again, we never transitioned into the Showa era. Emperor Taisho was ruling until the end of the game. Though we did start with Emperor Komei for a little while. So that was interesting. Yeah, overall, a really successful run as far as I'm concerned. I feel pretty good about how I've done. I think next I'm going to try to get a better sense of the naval stuff. I'm going to circle back to playing my old Stand By the United States. I haven't quite decided what I want to do with the run yet, but I'll figure that out. I think maybe the answer is going to be I'm going to focus on... I'm just going to try to sort of optimize and do as much as I can with the new naval stuff and see if I can get a sense of how the game works and get a better sense of the new naval stuff while I'm ahead on tech. Because I think that's one of the chief barriers to that as Japan is that you don't have the technology to get ahead on naval. Because you start so far behind and it's so expensive to build the necessary research facilities to get you up ahead on that. So yeah, anyway. That is all for this episode, my nerds. I have had fun. I hope you all have had fun, and I will see you on the other side.